Hello everyone, good afternoon, good morning, good evening from where you're watching. I know you people watch from everywhere around the globe, so welcome to this PR Pathways, amazing platform for those who try to understand immigration in more linear legit way. So my focus is always to give you authentic, easy immigration pathway news, updates, and what is going around the immigration. So today's video is, as I always say, is very much special, and it's related to Canada because we have seen lots of changes in Canadian immigration system, especially related to study permit applications. So if I talk about the figures, from January 2025 to July 2025, almost 62% of applications already been refused. And if I talk about the figures, 290k application or 290,000 student applications are already getting refused. So what are the reasons, what are the common grounds for these refusals, and how you can avoid those refusals? So this video will be focused on those particular scenarios, what you can do, and what are the challenges, why this is happening. So without wasting much time, let's try to understand today's video in much more depth and detail why this is happening. Before moving forward, let me try to give you an insight, like for those people who are coming here for the first time. So this platform is basically PR Pathways, as the name describes. So I cover immigration news from all around the globe in more linear way, so that will be understandable to like a common person. So firstly, coming to this channel, so please do subscribe us, which help us to motivate more, to make more better content just for you guys. So without wasting time, let's start today's video about Canadian immigration, or systematic change in Canadian immigration related to study permit applications. Let's start this. So if I talk about the figures, almost 42 billion amount of money already made by Canadian immigration related to study permit applications. Like this much amount was getting into the system because of the study permits in 2024. So almost 1 million students came to Canada in 2023, but right now if you see the changes, lots of people are getting refused. Why this is happening? The reason being, the system is not that much adequate to handle lots of people because of lack of jobs, healthcare, housing, and other challenges. So that's the reason that's happening. What are the common grounds? So what are the common 9 reasons usually IRCC officers provide when you get a refusal for your study permit? We'll try to cover each and refusal in much more detail. Let's try to understand what those reasons are. Let's try to go first reason. The first reason is, that's one of the most common reasons, is unconvinced applicant, like unconvinced IRCC officer, the applicant will leave Canada after study. So 75% of the applications will be refused or are getting refused. In those cases, like why the applicant will not be coming back to their home countries. So the question is why this is happening. So let's try to understand. So the first thing is lack of strong home countries ties. If you are not having a good ties, that's the reason. Second important thing is your travel history concerns. For example, you are not frequent traveler and you are having concern, you travel to those countries where the immigration is not that strong. Third important thing is dual intent misunderstanding. Lots of IRCC officers do not understand the dual intent of studying in Canada, then after study living in Canada, for example, postgraduate work permit. So what you can do, so there's very much important stuff that I'm gonna tell you about right now. Always consult a professional in those cases. But if you want to show a strong tie to your home country, you can show your documentation. For example, family ties, your working history, your employment, maybe your property. These are the kind of things you can show. For the travel history concerns, you can also show your travel history in more transparent way. Do not hide anything. Dual intent should be very much clear. If you are showing dual intent, you have to explain in very much detail. So this is the first reason 75% of application got refused. So the second important thing is, I'm gonna cover that's unconvinced applicant will leave Canada based on financial assets. So 53% of the applications get refused if it falls under this categories. Okay, covering the second most common reason for refusal of the study permit application is unconvinced applicant will leave Canada based on their financial assets. So 53% of the applications, they're saying that 53.3% of the applications got refusal because of this reason. So if I talk about figures, like for example, usually when you apply for study permit, you need GIC, that is Guaranteed Income Certificate. So in 2023, 10,000 was the GIC limit. 2024 we got 20,635. Now again they are increasing. So if you are not having much income or funds, this is very common ground. So why this is happening? Insufficient proof of funds, inconsistent financial history, lack of long-term planning. If you are not planned enough, you are not explaining things in your SOP, that's gonna be a concern. Again saying this, consult a professional before filing your file, before filing or submitting your file. This is very much important. Now important thing is how to address those concerns. You can have a GIC, draft your financial plan. You have to explain, as I said. Okay, so this was the second reason. The third reason, I'm gonna cover it right now. So let's try to cover the third most common reason, and 47.3% of the applications got refusal based on these grounds. So third important reason is purpose of visit is not consistent with temporary stay. So what that means? So your purpose of visit is not matching as per the scenario. For example, mismatching study program. So if you are an engineer, why you're choosing a nursing program? If you're a lawyer, why choosing not a law degree but an education degree? So these kind of mismatches are very much common. So this could be a reason for your refusal. Second important thing is your generic SOP and vague SOP, which is not clear, which is not legit. Third important thing is if you're emphasizing on your permanent residency, that's a red flag in your profile, in your case. So how to address this? As I said before, consult a professional, draft your SOP in a more clear way and transparent way. Justify your program change if you're changing, highlight temporary intent. So these are the reasons and how to address it. Now I'm gonna cover the fourth important point: insufficient financial resources for tuition. 18.8% of the application got refusal as per these conditions. So let's try to cover that. So we are covering the fourth important reason, very common grounds of refusal of these applications nowadays. The fourth important reason is insufficient financial resources for tuition. Like 18.8% of the application got refused on these grounds. So what are the reasons? Inadequate proof of tuition payment. For example, you are not paying your tuition fees. Let's say you are not covering your first year fees, or you are not covering your whole tuition amount. These are the grounds. These could be the grounds. Okay, the second one thing is lack of clarity in funding. So if your funding are not clear, if fundings are not clear, that could be a reason. Third important thing is increased scrutiny. For example, if you're not providing proper documentation, for example, let's say you do have funds but you don't have a source, like how the funds are coming from where the funds are coming. So that could be a potential reason. How to address this? As I said, always consult a professional. You can provide a proof of tuition, demonstrate that you have already paid your first year tuition or complete program tuition, demonstrate additional funding, demonstrate affordable programs, and also you can like if somebody is sponsoring you, you can also mention that. That's the fourth point. We'll cover the fifth point now. Thank you. Okay, covering the fifth important point, that's insufficient financial resources. 18.4% of the applications got refusal on these grounds. So like let's try to understand why this is happening. Failure to meet new benchmarks. For example, let's say previously it was 10,000 amount in the GIC, now it's like 20,000 of amount in the GIC. Now they're increasing back to 22,000 I think in September. So if you're not meeting those, there's a potential reason, or there will be a potential ground for the refusal. Inconsistent documentations. If your documentations are not consistent, as I said before, if your source of income, source of funds are not consistent, why this is coming from where this is coming from, that could be the reason. If you reliance on working in Canada while you are studying. So how to address those challenges? That's very important. So you have to meet the requirements, the benchmarks. Second important thing is avoid over-reliance on the work. Third important thing is trust financial tools. So financial tools means trusted financial tools means if you are getting GIC, get the GIC from approved authorized banks only. Fourth important thing is plan your dependents. For example, let's say you're planning for your dependents are coming along with you, so you have to make sure that you have enough sufficient funds for your dependents. Sixth important thing is like sixth important part where the refusals can be happened. Insufficient refusal reasons. Sometimes like immigration officers, they do not provide the sufficient ground of the reasoning. This is very common. 14.5, 14.9, almost 15% of the applications are refused without giving any specific reasons. So for example, let's say your case is complex, you have lack of transparency, your SOP is not correct, your program is not matching. Sometimes they put your case into a special consideration and you get a refusal. How to address this? As I always said, consult a professional. Okay, so you can request officers notes, you can request for GCMS notes. So now they have already changed. For example, like let's say if somebody is filing a study permit and they get refusal, so the officer will give you a detailed explanation why your application has been refused. So you can request for GCMS notes, you can reapply promptly with proper documentation with more detailing. So this was the number 6 point. I'll try to cover number 7 point now. Okay, the number 7 point, why study permit applications are refusing nowadays. So no significant family, sorry, I'm referring my notes, no significant family ties. So almost like 7.3% of the applications got refused on these grounds. So for example, let's say weak family ties, you don't have employment, you don't have land, you don't have taxations, you don't have properties. So that could be reason. Inconsistent narratives, what that means. For example, you're not explaining your SOP in a proper, legit and transparent way. That's very important. So I always highlight in this video, consult a professional who can help you to file your candidacy. Okay, eighth significantly important reason why the applications got refusal. So documentation authenticity is one of the reasons. If it's not authentic, your application gonna be refused. So almost like 5% of the applications got refused if your documentations are not authentic. For example, like in 2024, almost 13,000 of applications got refusals after applying. So why this is happening? For basically inauthentic documentation. Lots of people, what they do is they try to be smart with IRCC and try to give false documentations. If you're giving false documentations, you're gonna get a misrepresentation of 5 years and you'll not be able to apply, not even in Canada, lots of other countries, for example USA, Australia, New Zealand. So it's very important you provide legit documents, which needs, if you're not providing, your applications will be processed late and it also requires increased scrutiny. Okay, so the last but not the least reason, if you are missing any documentations, for example, let's say from 2024 the PAL was provincial attestation letter was very much required. For example, if you are missing that letter, for example you are missing your biometric, if you are missing your proof of funds, if you are missing those things, your applications will be refused. So these are the 9 common grounds I have covered in today's video in much more depth. If you know what to do, like if you support us, definitely we're gonna make more content just for you guys. Okay, now I'm gonna cover what are the options after refusals. Try to understand this. Let's try to cover this. Okay, so if your application got refused, especially for study permit, what you can do? You can reapply with a strong application, strong documentation, strong SOP. Second important thing is request a reconsideration. You can do a reconsideration with always a legit person, like a lawyer, like a consultant, who can provide you detail how to apply for reconsideration. It's not a normal process, you have to write to IRCC. Third important thing is you can also apply for judicial review. So judicial review is basically it goes to Federal Court of Canada, and it usually you can apply for within 60 days of refusal, but it takes a longer time and you need an immigration lawyer. So that's the third option. Fourth important option is you can apply for alternatives. For example, change your DLI, change your consultant, change your SOP, change your documentations. So what are the problems you can change, you can understand those, and you can change your documentations. Okay, what are the things you can do before applying? For example, you can start your applications and stay organized. Very important. This is for like everywhere you are applying for. You can start early, stay organized, demonstrate financial readiness, compelling SOP, document authenticity, stay informed, and on the policy changes. So these are the 9 common grounds I have covered in today's video, guys. Do appreciate us. Please subscribe to this channel. We'll see you in the next video with one more beautiful content. Until then, God bless you. Take soon. Thank you. Bye.